Hi guys, we are back again. Today we are going to talk about the big match which happened last week. It's Tottenham against Manchester United. It was a big match because Tottenham were actually going for the title to put pressure on Man City and Liverpool, and for Manchester United they are fighting for the top 4. And victory would also mean that Solskjaer has won it 6-on-6, which no other Man United manager has done it before. So let's talk straight into the game. What do you all make of it? Did the tactics from Solskjaer work perfectly, especially in the first half? Because we all know it's a tale of two halves in this game. So do you all think Solskjaer was tactically good by playing Lingard as a false 9 or something like this, and putting Martial and Rashford on the wide players? Because we all know Rashford has started as a main man for Solskjaer for the past 5 to 6 games. And it was surprising to see Rashford start on the right and Lingard down the middle. So as a neutral, what do you make of it?
I think it's a very good plan. Tactically, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did a very good job because he put a lot of speedy players on the wings, because Trippier and Ben Davies always bombs up. So I think he identified that and put Rashford and Martial in the wings and used it to his advantage. And Lingard, because Lingard pressures well. So overall, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did a good job in overcoming Tottenham's attack. Yeah.
And what do you make of it?
What he said is very true. For me, I think what Ole did was a surprise that he gave to Tottenham, because they wouldn't have expected. And out of a sudden, if you see Lingard in the up front, anybody would have been like, oh, what's the whole thing about? Like, Rashford is on the wing and he's fast, and like the defenders won't be able to push up to support the attack. And that's what happened in the first half. However, second half I think was very pressurizing for Man United, and they defend all the way, thanks to De Gea for the save.
Okay, since you've talked about De Gea, I'm going to go into what De Gea did in the game. In the first half, he didn't have any saves to make, because that's how dominant Manchester United were, especially in the possession and without the possession. But in the second half, it was totally a different game. Tottenham kept bombing up forward, they kept taking shots, they were creating more chances. And we all know De Gea is a very good goalkeeper. But do you all think that the 11 saves he made was just a routine save? Or yes, he was world class, but he shifted his body positioning well and all that. So what do you all make of it? Was it a routine save, or that's what a keeper should do, save for goal? But then people are saying that the performance is overrated and all that. So as a Manchester United fan, what De Gea did was good. Whether it was a simple save or not, any other day Tottenham would have scored 4 goals. But the thing about De Gea is he was in the right place at the right time to just make save with his legs and all that. This performance is what I expect from De Gea, because the shots was pretty much easy for him to save. If I compare him to his better performances, were the one against Arsenal last season, where he was keep saving, the balls were so hard to save. But what I'm going to say is, as a keeper, we expect him to save this kind of goals. If he has not saved any of it, he will be criticised. So in my opinion, the saves were routine, but it takes a lot of concentration and focus to actually save. And what do you make of it, Jack?
For me, I think De Gea was excellent, because I understand it's routine saves and De Gea did it all. But I think with the amount of pressure at the position, and Tottenham kept on attacking, the number of shots coming in was too many to be too relaxed. So at the moment, what De Gea has done is to be very much appreciated, and it's not easy, if you all get what I mean.
And how about you, Peter?
I think for me, it's there's a lot of criticism, or a lot of people saying it's overrated behind all these saves. I think the reason for that is because of De Gea's past performances. Because in the past, he's known for doing world-class save, fingertip save. So people expect a lot more acrobatic saves from him. But for example, if Kepa or Alisson or Ederson does this type of save, people will be praising him so much. But since De Gea's performance and his quality is so damn high, this type of saves, where if other keeper does it, people will say world class save. For De Gea, they will just call it as routine save, just because of his quality and just because of the amount of save that he did. So I don't think it is like the fans saying him being overrated or this match he was overrated. All these are I think it's actually false. I think it's just that De Gea's performance in the past couple of seasons is that high. This type of routine save is classified as normal saves for him.
And I've seen a lot of comparison between him and Alisson. Who is a better keeper in terms of shot stopping? And as a typical goalkeeper, it's a one-on-one situation. Who do you think is a better goalkeeper?
I think hands down is De Gea. Yeah, Alisson has just came into the picture and just did a couple of saves. And I think the key thing for a keeper is consistency. So just because you are performing well in a couple of matches doesn't mean you are world class yet. I think Alisson is not even world class yet in my opinion. If he does that or performs like De Gea and saves the team for 2 or 3 seasons, then I can compare him with De Gea. Until then, I think there's no comparison between De Gea and Alisson.
I mean, both of us are going to say De Gea is better because of how biased we are. But the thing about Alisson is he's being protected by a very good back four. He's being tested lesser compared to De Gea at Manchester United. Yes, I'm not going to say that Alisson is not a world-class keeper. He's a very good keeper. He plays with the ball. He's very relaxed and all that. But the thing is, if I put Alisson in this Manchester United team, will he be able to save this amount of goals? That's my crucial question. Maybe not, maybe yes. But as of now, for De Gea, I think he's the best keeper in the world, and in my opinion, because the number of points he have won for Manchester United as a team, as in the league, without him, we will be most likely in the bottom half, because he has saved us so many points throughout the past 3 seasons. And talking about individual performances, Moussa Sissoko, once he was out of the game, right, Paul Pogba had an easy job in this midfield, because Harry Winks couldn't get anywhere close to him, and Dele Alli and Eriksen are not the players who are going to go down and close Pogba, and even if they do, they do not have the strength or the capability to stop Pogba from going past them. So how big of a miss was Moussa Sissoko for Tottenham?
For me, it's a very big miss, because to stop Pogba, I think you need strength and a lot of athleticism. So you need some a player to be fast, strong, technical, and Winks, Eriksen and Ali do not have that. Players who have that in Tottenham is Wanyama, Dembele and Sissoko. Since Dembele and Wanyama is injured throughout the most part of the season, I think Sissoko was one of the key players in this match, like I said in the previous week. So him being out, I think that is the reason for Manchester United to win, because Pogba had all the freedom in this match after Sissoko was injured.
What do you make of that?
For me, I think he's the big difference that made Pogba to move freely. I think the moment when he was walking out of the field, you can see a big smile on his face, because he's the dangerous man on the pitch to stop our creativity from in the centre half. So yes, he's the big difference which came by.
I think for Moussa Sissoko wise, players would have done a job, but not as excellent as Sissoko, because Sissoko is the kind of player who can go toe to toe with Pogba. Even Victor Wanyama, who was a strong player, but he's not as quick as Pogba is, especially on the strike. And another player I think would have done a job would be Dyer, because Dyer has the grit and all that, but Dyer lacks discipline. But Sissoko's absence was a loss, especially after limping off through injury, because it's really bad for Tottenham in terms of injury. And talking about Tottenham itself, we talked about De Gea's save, but do you all think the players like Son, Dele Alli, Harry Kane, or even Eriksen, they should have done better with the finishes?
I think it's just one of those matches, and I think this match clearly shows the lack of depth in Tottenham, because this type of matches where Kane, Dele Alli, Eriksen is not scoring or not playing well is actually kind of like a common thing in big teams. And what big teams usually do is bring on someone from the substitute who is a big player who can change a game, like how Liverpool did when Shaqiri came into the field and scored the 2 goals. I think Tottenham do not have that, and this match clearly showed it.
I think they have, but they have a very thin line of players they can play. Like for example, Lamela is on the bench. If Lamela doesn't perform, then Mora and Dele Alli and Son doesn't perform, then they have no way. They don't have other goals outlet in the team. And what do you make of it?
For me, I think that's the usual play. That's how Tottenham usually attacks against even any other team. But like what you all say, they need the game changer to to get a good result like what they wanted. If not, they will end up like that against a big team.
Okay, talking about Tottenham and as a team, as Manchester United as a team, where do they go from here? Especially for Spurs, they were up with the top 2, top 3 in the start, maybe 3 games ago, and right now they have 2 losses in 3 games, and things are being shaky for them, especially for after the injuries of Kane and players like Son leaving for the Asian Cup and all that. So where do you think Spurs are going from here? And from Manchester United wise, 6 wins on the trot, good. But right now, this is the pressure point because the other teams will step up because they don't have error for margin for error. Sorry. So what do you all make of it? Like, where do these 2 teams go from here?
For me, I think Manchester United is just to play like how they are playing and not look too much at the table. Just try to win as much matches as they can and play attacking football. I think that should be their aim. Top 4, if they get, then it's good. But overall, I think they should just play attacking football and in the Champions League just try their best. I think that's all for this season for Manchester United. But for Tottenham, I think getting top 4 is important, but what is even more important is just getting a trophy for Tottenham. So the League Cup where they have a 1-0 lead against Chelsea, I think it's vital. I think they need to go to the final and win. I don't think going to the final and losing it is an achievement for Tottenham. So because the trophy is what a lot of people are criticizing Pochettino about. But I think if he gets a trophy, that's when you can start this dynasty of players having this winning mentality, and from there you can make Tottenham win the EPL or the FA Cup and whatsoever. So I think for Manchester United is to have fun and play attacking football, and for Tottenham is to show something physical and get a trophy like a League Cup or an FA Cup.
What do you make of it?
For me, I think what you say, Man U should take a game by game because they are enjoying their game now like better than the Mourinho times, and I think under Ole they are doing a good job, so they should take it a game by game. Even for Champions League, they've drawn against PSG. It's a big game, so it will take slowly because too much pressure will kill them back. That's all.
And for Spurs?
For Spurs, they should try to keep up with the top 4. They should do their best because now they are having their injury times, and it's time. I think it's going to be hard for them to keep up the top 4, so they should try to be there.
For me, for Manchester United wise, like what you all said, they should take it game by game and not look at the table so much, and not putting up any expectations other than the part that they should attack and be happy. And for Spurs, I think if now they lose the top 4, it's all down to Daniel Levy because he didn't get any player in the summer. And I'm not going to criticize them because we all know in this EPL season people tend to get injured. You need to have a squad who can do a job. And Tottenham only have 1 or 2 players, especially in the attacking role, who can do a job. So I can't blame Pochettino for not winning or not keeping up the pressure on the top 2 teams. But they should have done better in terms of in the transfer market, and maybe Pochettino should have fight for 1 or 2 more players. And they should win the League Cup in my opinion, because if they don't win anything, then this season is a failure for them, because top 4 and not winning anything for Spurs, especially with so much hype, seems like a downgrade for me. So guys, okay, we are done with our review of the last week's big game. So I would like to know what are the comments from you all, like where do you think Spurs and Manchester United are going to go, and the rest of it, like did Son and Kane miss chances which are terrible, and then for David De Gea's performances. So please like, share and subscribe. We are FootyTalkers, and I am Harry Potter, and Jack Sparrow and Peter Parker are right by my side, and see you all soon. Bye.